As the playoffs near, so does allergy season. And with allergy season means I lose my voice. And my voice is a little bit cooked right now, if you can't tell. This is, in fact, the last episode of In Case You Missed It, the 2024 season, though, because obviously once the playoff bracket comes out, all anyone really cares about is predictions. And that is what we're going to be doing. Jordan Poole has been the primary playmaker for the Wizards of late, and that seems to be his best role because he has looked amazing in that role. Now, obviously, he is a turnover machine when he isn't locked in. But if he locks in, we may be looking at the star player that a lot of people expected. But I wouldn't hold my breath for it. The Pistons threw in the white flag. Just like some of y'all are done with the 90s, I am done with this year's Hornets because there is nothing new that happened with them. Delano Bantoon really has been amazing as a Portland Trailblazer, and if I were the Raptors who let him go last year, I'd be very upset. The Jazz also threw the white flag in, so there's not much to talk about other than the fact Johnny Juzang went off for 27 on the Warriors. The Raptors got RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley back on Friday, and that meant snapping their 15-game losing streak in Milwaukee. To follow that, though, against the Wizards, Quickley went off for 31, 13, and 7, while RJ went off for 22, 8, and 7. Both players would continue to go off, but I'm not going to read every stat line. But just imagine if they had Scotty Barnes right now, too. Oh, man. Next year. The Grizzlies have a G League team playing still. I mean, if you saw the injury report for one of their games this week, the entire roster is hurt. What are the Nets going to do this offseason to fix this mess that they have? I really don't know what they can do outside of dealing Mikal Bridges, DFS, and Dennis Schroeder to contenders in exchange for quality young players and draft capital. But this team is cooked. Victor Wembanyama thought he was going to have a redemption game for Embiid's 70 ball earlier in the year. Unfortunately for him, Embiid did not play in the game. However, Wemby unlocked his inner Steph Curry, as you probably saw. He went off for 33, 18, 6, and 7 blocks in the game. Also worth noting, though, on the negative side of things, he had 9 turnovers in the game. Not something you want to see. Trae Young returned this week after a long absence. Too bad their season is essentially over, as they are most likely going to have to play Boston round 1 if they even make it out the play-in, and they have to win 2 play-in games to get there. So yeah, congrats on the season, Hawks, even though it was a very, very underwhelming one. Tari Eason has been canceled for the rest of the year and off-season after he talked a big game despite being out with injury. So even though I like him as a player, he is canceled. The Rockets actually are kind of canceled for the season as well, as they are officially eliminated from the playoffs. But from all the NBA fans, I just want to say thank you for the entertainment surrounding this team, whether it was Dylan Brooks being himself, Jalen Green after becoming a father, or Alperen Sengun cooking. Thank you, and we as NBA fans look forward to seeing what you have in store for us next season. Javonte Green came back to the league in a big way Friday as he dropped 25 and 13 on the Knicks after getting kicked in the head. But in more funnier news, in case you missed it, watch this play. That really sums up the Bulls in short.
Bogdanovich never stopped moving. That's a steal for Drummond. Andre Drummond knocked it free, and Torrey Craig! Oh, no!
The only optimism I have in the 2024 Kings is the fact Keon Ellis and Davion Mitchell have been way more productive on the offensive end of the floor. Then you factor in the fact they both play high-level defense. It ultimately makes you wonder how far they can go with those two performing at high levels. But if the Kings blow another 20-point lead during the final 3 games of the season, we are not talking about them again until they are eliminated, which probably will be in a week. If you did not know, the Magic were actually the 3 seed at a point this week. I really don't know how, but congratulations to them on a very, very good season that they clearly overachieved during. But I still just can't believe they were sitting at the 3 seed at this late of the season. I said last week that when Evan Mobley plays a vertically challenged team, he looks like a top 10 center in the league. Well, he played the Lakers, and guess what? He went off for a whopping 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. What a performance. Then against a team that does not have size, he had 26 and 4. I am tired of Evan Mobley, if you could not tell, even though I used to love him as a player. I completely forgot about Tyler Hero until he went off against the Hawks Tuesday night. He went off for 33, 5, and 4 on 13 to 25 shooting in the game. However, I have a question. Outside of his injury, why has he not been performing like he did early in the season? He was doing this nightly before the injury. Now it is as rare as a solar eclipse. Austin Reeves this, Austin Reeves that. D'Lo deserves the media recognition, more yet does not get it. Makes absolutely no sense. But in other news, Rui Hachimura went off for 30 on the T-Wolves, and that may mean that he is locking in for the playoffs like he did last year. I would personally not want to play the Lakers round 1, or any round for that matter. The Pacers may not have been getting much media attention right now, but they have been playing good basketball of late, despite Tyrese Haliburton being a roller coaster. I really do not want to talk about my Suns, and they're going to get shunned this week, because how do you start a game down 35-4 in a National Basketball Association? My Suns are shunned. Jonas Valanciunas had 26, 7, and 7 on the Spurs Friday, and watching that game, I have never been more certain that he is the secret weapon and will be the reason for the Pelicans winning a playoff series this year. Don't forget about all the other weapons they have, though, because if you do, you will be upset or shocked. The Thunder, you better hope the Pelicans are not your first-round matchup, all I'm going to say. Klay Thompson has been locking in as we near the postseason, which is really scary for the league if we are being honest, because imagine Klay playing well, Curry being Curry, Draymond, CP3, Wiggins, and GP2 all playing to their capabilities, and of course the young guys continuing to play at the high level they have been at. Too bad they probably are getting eliminated in the 9-10 play-in game. Tyrese Maxey in his first game with Embiid healthy dropped 37 points, 9 rebounds, and 11 assists. His life has gotten so much easier compared to the last few months, clearly. He did drop 52 in a game without Embiid this week, though. Kelly Oubre has also been something worth noting because he has been proving that he deserved a much bigger contract than he was given. Even more importantly, the 76ers are 30-8 with Embiid this year. 30-8. I am telling you right now, a 76ers team with a healthy Embiid can beat any team but the Celtics. The Bucks are the only team I would hesitantly say the 76ers are better than, but if Giannis is hurt, the Bucks are cooked. So me personally, I believe the 76ers will make a run to the conference finals this year. That is just my evaluation of this team healthy. You also have to understand that their bench has Buddy Hield, Kyle Lowry coming off of it. Like, this team is very, very deep, and if they're healthy, they're going to make a deep run in the playoffs. I promise you that. So watch out for the 76ers. This is your warning. There's a lot of media controversy coming from the Bucks currently between coaching comments, the awful losses, and of course, the performances from certain players. In my personal opinion, they do in fact need to take this season more seriously because they are going to get embarrassed round one if they don't lock in. Especially now that they have the concern about Giannis's calf strain, which could not have happened at a worse time in the regular season. Jalen Brunson is in fact the MVP of the league 10 years ago. Unfortunately for him, Jokic, Giannis, Luka, and SGA all exist. I saw someone say that Brunson is more deserving of MVP over Luka though this week. We need to talk about that. I really hope it was a joke because the only reason Luka is not the front runner is because of the Mavericks record, which happens to be better than the Knicks. The media really does not make any sense to me most of the time, but I guess that's just what the media is trying to do. Very deceiving. It is kind of funny how the Clippers have been struggling for a little while, but then as soon as Westbrook comes back, they look infinitely better. Now, normally I ask y'all if it's a coincidence or not, but this is clearly no coincidence. This is just the Russell Westbrook effect. The Timberwolves got news that Cat will in fact return to the lineup to close out the regular season. But the real question we have got to ask ourselves is how will this impact the MVP level production of Naz Reid? Obviously, I meant to say Anthony Edwards because Ant did go for 51, 6, and 7 this week like it was nothing. Watch out for the Timberwolves. The Thunder just win games they really shouldn't for some reason. I would love to hate on them because I do in fact believe they will get bounced round one if they play anyone but the Warriors or Kings. But I can't deny how gritty this team is. PJ Washington dropped 32 points in an insane win versus the Warriors without Luka this week. But when Luka returned against Houston, he dropped 37, 9, and 12 while Kyrie went off for 48. This team fully healthy will in fact make the conference finals and potentially the NBA finals if they can figure out how to limit major runs from their opponents. They will beat the Clippers round one in my personal opinion, as the Clippers can't stop Luka already. And to add Kyrie to that, it's going to be ugly for the Clippers, especially knowing that James Harden could be turned into a cone. I believe the Celtics benched like every starter to end their game against the Kings Friday and still won. And because of that, I want to reiterate what I touched on a few weeks ago. The depth of this team has been amazing in the regular season. However, does not mean it will translate to the postseason, and that is really the only concern you should have if you are a Celtics fan. Well, you may have to have a little concern about your two superstars that seem to fade with bright lights, but other than that, you really have one issue. Also, Jrue Holiday contract, congratulations, Jrue Holiday, you just made bank. I really don't have anything to say about the Nuggets that we don't already know, so I'm just going to save everyone's time and energy and just get to the awards. The player of the week is in fact Nikola Jokic. I mean, he's probably going to win MVP MVP. Me personally, I have Luka as MVP, but this week's MVP is definitely Jokic. Team of the week is the Clippers. As Russell Westbrook got healthy, they started cooking. Underrated player of the week is Denny Advia. He's been cooking this year. He's not getting any attention for it. The disappointment of the week is Donovan Mitchell. He has not been great since coming back. I mean, a lot of players are locking in. He just probably had the worst performances of superstars. Was going to be Devin Booker, but he did drop 37 last night, so I couldn't really do that. And of course, the worst team of the week is the Sacramento Kings, because this team has been blowing 20-point lead after 20-point lead. Like, what are we doing at this point? And with that, we conclude the final episode of In Case You Missed It of 2024. I hope y'all enjoyed. This segment will be back in October 2024. But yeah, postseason time, best time of the year. Y'all have a good one.